last part. And in this video, we're going to talk about who would be the most ideal student that would thrive at Sonoran Desert Institute. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. I'm the Gun Psychiatrist, and this is the last part of a three-part series of my review of Sonoran Desert Institute as a former student, and not only a former student, but a former graduate of Sonoran Desert Institute. If you haven't watched our first two parts, I would highly encourage you to check those out. In the first part, I covered kind of pros and cons of the school. The second part, I left some kind of industry information and more or less some considerations to think about before pulling the trigger over there at SDI. And in this video, we're specifically going to talk about who I think the most ideal student would be to go to that school and who probably shouldn't go to that school. And everybody out there, I know they're going to be in different situations. There's going to be veterans that watch this. There's going to be just regular old civilians that watch this, or maybe people currently in the military that watch this. It would also help that if you find this video helpful, or any content on my channel for that matter helpful, please smash that like button down below so this gets out through the YouTube algorithm. And of course, also consider subscribing. That'd be a great help too. I'd love to have you. So the next question, who would I recommend go to Sonoran Desert Institute? Honestly, I would say that I don't think this school is for everybody. I would think that if you are a veteran and who's about to lose your GI Bill because it will expire soon and you really don't know what you want to be when you grow up, this would be a great school to pick because you're going to get to do some cool stuff. You're going to learn some information, especially if you're a gun guy. You're going to like this school. I would recommend this school if you are planning on going into business for yourself or have just started a firearms related business. Basically, you need to get that information edge to allow you to kind of function in the industry. When I first started in firearms, I didn't have any school. I didn't have nothing. All I had was research on the internet, industry partners that would kind of coach me through the processes of how to shoot Cerakote, how to do this, how to do that, how to park rise. Back in those days, you didn't have like what we have now with YouTube. All you really had was internet resources. And so I went through a lot of struggles, a lot of trial and error, and I mastered a niche for myself with no experience. And then about a year into my first business, I decided that I need to get a little something and got a gunsmithing certificate from Penn Foster. That was a work at your own pace deal. I think it was $850. The VA paid for it. After, of course, I graduated, then I got the $850 check from the VA. But it still gave me some basic information that I was really lacking that allowed me to kind of get on down the road and excel. If you are, maybe getting into the business or starting the business, I would recommend this school for you. Now, if you're not a veteran and if you don't have disposable income or like a GI Bill, I would not recommend that you go to this school. Instead, what I would do is I would apply for gun industry jobs and gain experience by working and getting paid to do it, not paying SDI to do it for you. A lot of employers need machinists, and you got to consider this. Most guns are made on a machine. And so the chances of an employer sending you to a machinist school are pretty high, because they're going to work with a trade school in the area. They're probably going to offer some form of a benefit for current employees, an education benefit, and that is what's going to benefit you and the employer most, is to have that machinist certification. Take advantage of it. And if they're paying for the school, that's a big win in your pocket because you're not going into debt to another school that's not giving you much of a leg up in the industry. And yeah, they care more about a drone class than your success in possibly machining or knowing how to use CAD. In my opinion, SDI is not worth getting any amount of student debt. And I think you would be better off spending your money on machinist classes. Not only will it get you better pay, but you're going to be a lot more marketable other than the firearms industry. You can pretty much go anywhere as a certified machinist. Those guys make pretty good money. So I hope this helps. I really hope that this video finds you all out there that are seeking answers to your questions. I hope it finds those answers for you. If you just don't know what to do, I would maybe say some prayers or something to find out if you really want to do this, especially if you have a GI Bill. You want to burn it on this? Because here's a factoid that most people don't know, but most gunsmiths only make about $36,000 a year. And I don't know where you're at, but here in America, $36,000 a year is not a that's not even a survivable wage. I don't know how people do it on $36,000 a year, let alone $50,000 a year. Keep that into consideration. And especially if you're going to go into business for yourself, understand that you're probably not going to see a paycheck for about 5 years, too. There's not all this money in the industry where you think it is, and your local gun store is not getting rich selling you that Glock that he bought wholesale from Lipsy's. It's just not happening. If you want some reality checks on the firearms world, it's a rough market to be in. Big gun stores, yeah, some guys can make some money there because they sell lots and lots of guns, but those small town gun shops, it's not there, guys. I would really consider that if you're wanting to pursue a profession in firearms versus a hobby in firearms, really keep that into consideration, because dislike makes you better at a hobby versus making you better at a profession. Now, that's my opinion. That's my experience. I'm sure other students could tell you different. I wouldn't trust anything the school sends out paid. Like, look at so and so, blah, 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 blah. Because usually their heads are stuck so far up the schools, but they can't even smell the brown on their nose anymore. I've had some personal issues with the school. I'm not even going to go into. I can shoot another video about it if you're that interested to hear in it. But I'm like so over that now because it really had nothing to do with school. More or less, it. Oh. Anyways, I hope this video was informative. I hope it answered the questions you needed answered. If it hasn't, shoot me your questions and I'll do my best to answer them for you. I think if you're trying to get a foot into the industry and you have no experience, go into an entry level job and work the industry from that end and get into machinist classes and try to become a machinist for a gun manufacturer, because those are the guys that make the big bucks, the machinists and the CAD designers. So you can either go the engineering route or you can go the machinist route. As far as wanting to be some kind of gunsmith, walking out of the SDI, it's just you're a gunsmith on paper. You really haven't gotten the experience that you need to actually prove yourself. That's my take on it. Let me know what you guys think about in the comments below. And until next time, I'm the gun psychiatrist signing off. God bless America again.